What's up YouTube, it's Plandano here with the first of hopefully many Digimon TCG deck highlight videos for you. Throughout this series I'm going to be trying to look at a series of different Digimon decks from both the English and Japanese formats, go over a quick deck tech, do some gameplay and then a recap of my thoughts after playing some games. For the first of these videos, I thought it best to start off with a deck that I'm perhaps the best known for playing, which is BT6 Security Control. This is a deck I enjoy a lot, it's inspired by my control background in Magic the Gathering, and it's probably the deck I know the most and can talk the most about in terms of the ins and outs. I spent a lot of time thinking about all the individual cards that are and aren't in the deck, so there's a reasoning behind it all, and hopefully I can give you all a good insight into why I've built this the way I have. So to start with, let's talk about something that I think is very important to talk about here, which is what exactly is control? Control tends to be a term that gets bandied around a lot, and people use it to refer to most decks that tend to be removal heavy or focus on interacting with your opponent's board. But really we want to get down to the nitty gritty of the control strategy and what you're trying to do. Really, control is leveraging advantage, which is like an invisible measure of who's ahead in the game. Combination of things like cards in hand, cards on field, and the power of security in the case of Digimon. So with a control deck, you're trying to use that advantage to really play two phases to the game. The first is to take control, which is where the name comes from. You're going to play against your opponent's board, you're going to stop their game plans, you're going to take over, and you're going to get into a position where you are just more powerful than your opponent is and they're playing catch up. It's a position we call turning the corner, because at that point is when you start to switch from your control game plan to trying to actually close out the game and finish the game. Usually you talk about having high power cards at the end of the game and something we call inevitability. In Digimon that's not quite as present. There isn't really like a high power instantly game ending card in the game, so we're just looking for strong consistent plays that will allow us to gradually finish things off and wear the opponent down. So now we're going to look at some of the specific cards I've put into the deck, and we're going to start by looking at the control cards, the actual removal options I have. Now, one thing I like to do when judging removal in any card game is try to find a card that works as the standard for removal. For Digimon, I think that's Gaia Force. 8 memory, unconditional, kills a Digimon. So all of these big removal spells that I'm running are going to be compared to that. There are 3 that I think measure up. Ultimate Flare, Iron Fisted Onslaught, Wyvern's Breath, all of which I'm running at 4 copies. Ultimate Flare and Iron Fisted Onslaught are absolutely amazing. While their flaw is worse than that of Gaia Force because they're a little more situational, they don't have the same flexibility, they have a higher ceiling because they can potentially take out multiple Digimon, which is huge and is one of the ways you're going to start to turn the corner with this deck. Wyvern's Breath is, I guess, slightly weaker than Gaia Force. There are some situations, rare though they may be, where it's not going to be able to kill a Digimon that Gaia Force could, but at the same time there is the situation of your opponent having Cranium on, where Wyvern's Breath works when Gaia Force wouldn't. So I'm fine running Wyvern's Breath specifically because it means I don't have to worry about bringing in red Digitamas or Tamers. We're also running Gewaltschwarmer, amazing card, board wipe, doesn't activate from security, so we're only on 3 copies of it, still more than most would run, because I think it's huge and stops your opponent going on a go wide strategy. If they stop going tall to counter your big removal spells, Gewaltschwarmer blows them out the water. And then we're trialing out 2 Eden's Javelin. I sort of found this is a flexible slot in the deck for 2 options. I've tried Breath of the Gods, you could consider Tactical Retreat and Fire Tornado too, but at the moment I'm going with Eden's Javelin to counter one of the weaknesses of the deck, which is a bit of a lack of card draw. So we spoke a bit about the control aspect of this deck, now let's look at the other 50% of the name and look at the security aspect, and particularly the cards we're running that will allow us to recover effectively. We have gone very high on recovery in this build. This is more than most players do. As I've mentioned before, I'm playing a much longer control and game than people tend to with this strategy. So we have a full 4 copies of Reinforced Memory Boost. Absolutely love this card. It can put cards in your hand, it gives you control over what goes into your security, what goes to hand, and it can be used for memory later in the game, which is really huge. It gets us towards a point we want to get to with this deck, which is being able to play 2 impactful cards in 1 turn. That, for me, is the marker of when we've actually turned the corner, and Reinforced Memory Boost helps us get there. We're also running 3 copies of Holy Wave. This is great, it triggers recovery out of security, as well as being able to recover 1 from your hand. Ideally you want this in your security just as a delay tactic. It mitigates 1 attack from your opponent and has a chance to put something else impactful into your security. Then, in terms of recovery Digimon, we've got 3 Salamon who can evolve from our Upamon to draw us cards and can swing at our opponent, chip away at cards and get recovery +1. We're opting to run this instead of Lucimon because I find Lucimon is a bit weak early game, doesn't get the draw from the evolution, and likely isn't going to survive to get the attack. I'm personally not a fan. A lot of people like to use it with the synergy with Magnadramon, but in this deck, I don't think your Magnadramon is going to survive a turn. Also worth noting, we're not running Magnarandramon that I've replaced with Holy Wave. Holy Wave costs 1 less, works out security, and we don't really care about getting the 6k body from Magnarandramon in a format that's filled with removal. Our last recovery piece is the 4 copies of Magnadramon, pretty much a staple in this strategy. It's absolutely amazing. A hard drop level 6 with 10k that recovers 2 if you have 3 or less. This is just great. It puts a body on the field. Your opponent's probably going to answer it, but that uses most of the memory you gave them anyway, and it gets 2 more cards into your security, slows your opponent down, and every card in our security could be something huge and impactful, so recovery really means a lot in this strategy. Additionally, its second ability can be quite useful because you can occasionally drop a level 3 out of it, though that's just a nice thing that might happen, is not really something we're planning for. So we've looked at how we're going to remove our opponent's Digimon, we've looked at how we're going to get those cards into security for higher value, but that alone doesn't make a good control list. What you also need is cards that generate value and advantage to get ahead of your opponent in order to turn the corner. One of the ways we mentioned to do this is to be able to double spell, play 2 cards in 1 turn, and some of the best things you can use to get there are Tamers. We have 4 memory Tamers, which will help set us to a base of 3, which is a good starting point for that extra memory on a turn. With a reinforced memory boost, that's 6 memory. So we're running 2 TKs, which people find a big risk in this strategy. You can die to your own TK. This is something you have to be prepared for and willing to potentially play around. But I find the ability to grab a reinforced memory boost or a Magnadramon out of your security in the early game is really, really good. Reinforced memory boost so much better from the hand than from security, so I love TK to be able to fetch that out. And Magnadramon, kind of useless in security. The best it will do is kill maybe a thing and then go to trash, and you're never going to get the recovery off of it. I'd rather get into hand early in game. The other 2 memory Tamers we're running are copies of Izzy, because he is great with recovery decks. Being able to reorganize the top 3 cards of your deck lets you have a bit of control over what you can recover. We mentioned this is one of the strongest parts of reinforced memory boost, so why would we not want to make that possible for our Salamons, Holy Waves and Magnadramons too? On top of those, we have some additional Tamers that can give us more memory. We have 2 copies of Taikamiya and Matashida, which will give us an extra 2 memory if our opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon. It also gives Omnimon's security attack +1, which is part of our win condition that we'll get to in just a moment. And then we have 3 copies of Izzy Izumi and Joe Kido. This is great. Alongside the Izzy Tamer is another Black Tamer to turn on those options, which is very important. And while its second effect is never going to come up in our deck because we don't have any black Digimon, its start of turn effect to give us memory if our opponent has 2 or more Digimon is great. This is something that's really hard for our opponent to play around. Do they keep building their board and give us a load of extra memory, or do they play slower to avoid the extra memory, but then also play into our hands? Most of the time, it's just going to work out for us. It puts a lot of pressure on our opponent, and it lets us get some real extra spells down. The last value advantage card that we're running is a non-tamer card, and it's Cordramon. It comes out of security and draws us 2 on play. It's fine to play normally for 6 memory as well. We mentioned earlier the deck struggles with card draw. It seems to me a pretty decent include in this deck. So now that we have all those other aspects of our deck, the big question to ask is, how do we win? Let's look at the win conditions. First up, something we mentioned, Omnimon, particularly Omnimon's Vard Defeat. This card is amazing. 13,000 DP and plays itself out of security. This is awesome. In a security control deck, we're going to have a good chance of putting it in there and getting a free body when our opponent attacks us is great. On top of that, if your opponent deletes it, or it dies in any way, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon, so it's really hard to deal with as well. Plus, with the synergy with Time Mat, it can get security attack +1 and be a really significant threat that your opponent is never going to have a good value way of getting off of the board. I absolutely love Svart Defeat. It's really powerful, easy 4 copies in this deck. The other win condition is a card you might not see as much, but is actually very good in these security control lists, and that's Agumon Expert. 3 copies of these. When you play it, you can return a Digimon card with Agumon in its name from your trash to your hand. This allows you to form a loop. You play an Agumon Expert, let it die by attacking your opponent, then play another one, put that first one back in your hand, and wait for the one on the field to die again. This is an awesome strategy that's really potent in the mirror match, because your opponent just can't have enough removal to deal with it. They can burn through their options over and over, and these Agumons, these little 1k bodies, just keep coming back. It also synergizes well with our one-of copy of Bushi Agumon, who's a card that can finish a game out of nowhere thanks to its rush. You can use Reinforced Memory Boost to get enough memory for Bushi Agumon, you can drop it off of a Magnadramon, and you can get it back from trash with Agumon Expert. It has all these little synergies with our deck that allow us to just finish a game where we've managed to whittle our opponent down to 0 but can't quite keep a body around to end it. So these Agumons are one of our main win conditions alongside the Svart Defeat. With some other Digimon in the deck, we should be able to chip away at our opponent and close out the game. So that was a quick look and deck tech of the deck. I hope that it gave a good enough explanation of why I'm running the cards I'm running and what my plan is. Now we're going to play some games and you're going to get to see in action and hopefully make everything a bit clearer about how all this works. So if you have your doubts, stay tuned, watch that, and enjoy. And let's drop. Let's have a look at the starting hand. So not much to do on turn 1 here at all. It's removal, Magnadramon and Omnimon. So we are literally going to hatch and pass the turn. It's one of the reasons we like to be on the draw. We would have had one more card to look at, and our opponent might have had stuff we could interact with and get some value out of. Say this Eden's Javelin would be a good early one to kill off a level 3 or 4. So playing against purple, which we know is quite good against us. The Gabumon in Source and the Ginkakumon. Looks like they're probably going to go for Ginkaku Promote. Maybe this is a Titanmon deck. Okay, so down comes Labramon. They get to draw 1, discard 1. Let's see what they pitch. Underworld's cool. Allowing them to draw another card. Okay. We'll draw now. Okay, we still really don't have much going on. So I think we're just going to use the Eden's Javelin, kill that Labramon. And get to draw a card out of it. We are sorted for removal. We have the Wyvern's Drift. Remember, we can't play these ultimate flares though. It's Labramon drawing 1, discarding 1. Coming at security, we're going to see an Omnimon Svart Defeat. They do have to draw 1, discard 1. The easily overlooked part is that Svart Defeat does not battle the Digimon that checks it. So we can see the blocker Devimon come up here. I suppose a good check for us though. It gives us something on the board. We can start doing stuff. Likely just going to swing over that Ginkakumon. It's going to put Labramon back in hand by the looks of it. Yep. Okay. We're going to draw up. Okay, we'll swing over the Ginkakumon, kill that. Our opponent draw 1, discard 1 off the Demi-Meramon. That's fine. I don't think it's worth using the Wyvern's Breath here to take out the blocker. Discard an Underworld's Call to draw 1, and I think we're just going to pass the turn over. Need to see a Black Tamer at some point soon. We do have these Magnadramons are going to start doing stuff when our security goes down 1. As Omnimon's Art defeat is going to put pressure on board. We'll see what removal our opponent's running. Hopefully they're on Fly Bullet, not Hell's Gate. Because that gives them very limited ways to interact with Art defeat. Ginkaku Promote comes down for 6. Is going to put a Ginkakumon and a Ginkakumon underneath itself. So gain a memory and draw a card. Leaving us on 2. Okay, we're going to unsuspend. We're going to draw another Magnadramon. We've got plenty of recovery to come. Let's hope there's some good stuff out of security. So, Omnimon's just going to swing it at their security. Might as well. And check a Matt Ishida. They're going to use that to get back Underworld's Call. And we will... Let's see, we could Wyvern's Breath something here. I think we might need to control the board. Let's take out the Ginkaku Promote. Our opponent might have the ability to reanimate that, but I just want to slow them down a little. I'm hoping we see a Black Tamer out of security. And that's going to let us do something. Lady Devimon. I mean, they do have... We know they have the Underworld's Call in hand, actually. So they can get that Ginkaku Promote back. Maybe not the best move on our part, because they can use it here. Pitch Chaos Gallantmon and an Underworld's Call. Draw another card. It is drawing very aggressively here. So that's the question. Do they use Underworld's Call, get back Ginkaku Promote, swing with it? Or do they save that? So as far as we know, I think they only had the one in hand and they pitched that. So there might be another one in there. Here comes Titamon. Going for 4. They trash a card. And get back Ginkaku Promote, who uses effect. Nice. Well done, opponent. They're going to draw a card and gain a memory, so they stay on 0. Titamon is at 14k security attack +1. They also discarded this Skull Greymon. Just making sure, does that go at the top of its sources? Skull Grey goes at the bottom. Just in case that matters with D-Digivolve effects, which we do have thanks to Ultimate Flare. So first check, Holy Wave. Second check, Wyvern's Breath, and we're going to use that to kill... See, I think we just kill the Ginkaku Promote here. Stop an attack. So Omnimon can swing over the Titamon. And yes, it has retaliation, but this is going to let Omnimon kill 2 of their things when it dies to the retaliation as well. Going to unsuspend, we're going to draw. Bushi Agumon is going to let us draw another card here. There's our Black Tamer. Now, it's their best bet here to block it. So losing the Devimon either way, so opponent missed that. So we could run out Magnadramon here and get the recovery, but I think now I'm happy to run out Izzy. Gonna reveal 3 cards from the top here. Let's see. Well, I think we want to draw the Magnadramon and get the 4th one in hand. And we're probably going to play a Magnadramon next turn, so we'll put these other 2 into security. In fact, I'd rather not put the Izzy-Jo into security, so I'm going to do it this way, because Bushi-Agumon's going to attack and draw a card off of Upamon. So we're going to draw Magnadramon, swing with Bushi to draw Izzy-Jo, and then use Magnadramon, put a Holy Wave and something else on top of our security. Yeah, opponent misplayed by not blocking the Omnimon there. Either way, it was going to kill Titamon. Either way, it was going to kill the Devimon. Sorry. But, if they'd have blocked, they would have saved Titamon. Okay, they're going to get back Devimon. Okay. I'm going to draw. Does that possibly change things? Yeah, I mean, it just means we don't swing with the Bushi-Agumon, right? But I am still happy to drop Magnadramon down. So now that's Izzy-Jo and then Holy Wave. It's not the worst thing having Izzy-Jo in security. I was mainly hoping to just put something more useful in there, but that's fine. Our opponent has drawn very aggressively, and they're going to draw 3 more cards out of their deck, so this is definitely something to keep an eye on here. They are burning through cards. Okay, so there's a Skullgreymon. I guess they put Skullgreymon underneath the blocker? No, okay, they go under the Lady Devimon, sure. Could have put it under the blocker and then made that blocker trade with anything. Chaos Gallantmon comes down, sure, so that gets to it only brings a level 3 back when it deletes something. So it's coming at security. We're going to check the Holy Wave that we know is there. Recovery 1. They are. I think they're meant to have drawn for Evolution and draw 1, discard 1 of Gabumon too. That's fine. We have 3 more Magnadramon in hand, ready to go. Hell's Gate to kill this one. Sure. Puts us on 5. Gonna draw a card. There's Agumon Expert. Not doing much at this point. Now, Ultimate Flare will de-digivolve 1, 2, 3 and kill it. So, we can use Ultimate Flare or Iron Fisted Onslaught here. I think we use the... Normally, I would say use the Onslaught as Ultimate Flare is more useful, but because we have a second Ultimate Flare in hand, I think we use the Ultimate Flare here, and it keeps our options open. Just going to go de-digivolve 3 and then kill it. And that's why it's important to remember that Skullgreymon goes on the bottom. Because if it was on the top, we wouldn't have been able to take it down to rookie form. Yeah. As I say, normally I'd use Iron Fisted Onslaught. As opponents in purple, they're more likely to perhaps try and go wide with their rookies. They run a lot of 3 costs, so Ultimate Flare could potentially stop a situation where opponent has flooded the board like this. But because we had the other one in hand, I was okay to run that out. We're going to draw up. So now I think we are okay with running out a second Ultimate Flare. Pop both those Tapumon. Force our opponent to draw 2, which is actually not good for them. They're going to deck out real soon. And then a draw for turn. Down to 5 cards in deck. We're on 27, so I have a feeling they're going to run out before we do. What is it that Sunamon does again? Trash a card in your hand, draw 1 once per turn, so more card draw. Double blockers, which if that stays, Iron Fisted Onslaught has some good targets here. 6 costs. I'm going to go up into Skull Greymon. I don't think opponent can kill us here. They're so low on cards in deck. We have the Iron Fisted Onslaught. So they're going to come in for the check. Another Zvart defeat comes out. They're going to Demonic Disaster, pop that, unsuspend the Skull Greymon, and then swing again. That's the Izzy Joe we knew about. So the moment Omnimon can swing over Skull Greymon, it doesn't have retaliation. It's only a source effect. But now it will evolve into Titamon. They draw 1 for the evolution. And then can get a Digimon back. Now we have Iron Fisted Onslaught to kill the Titamon. Nice and easy. Or we just, once again, Omnimon into Titamon, let it die to the retaliation, and then use that effect to kill the Ginkaku here. I was going to do that. Gain a memory, draw a card. Start of our turn, we go to 3 from Izzy, and then 5 from Izzy Joe. We draw. Omnimon swings at Titamon. The effect will kill the Ginkakumon. I was on 5, so let's just run out Professor Agumon. I could have moved the Bushi Agumon up. I entirely forgot about that. Followed by another Izzy Joe. And let's hope our opponent doesn't have a way to finish us off with 3 memory. They have Underworld's Call, which can get back a Ginkaku with Rush, but I don't think they can get 4 attacks in. Okay, we'll draw, we'll drop a Magnadramon. And we'll win to deck size, which is something that's going to happen somewhat often with this strategy. To be ready for that game plan. So something I was considering that I'm probably going to cover when I do the wrap up at the end of this video. But I think it might be worth running a second Bushi Agumon. Probably cut down 1 Salamon for it. Just run 2 Salamon, 2 Bushi. Okay, our opponent is going first. We'll draw up. And we got Black Tamer, we got removal, and we got Holy Wave if our opponent doesn't leave us anything to kill here. That we want to kill, that is, so. Here comes Tapiamon. I'm not super interested in killing that. We're going to draw, we're going to hatch. Oh, well, that's, do we put our opponent to 4 by playing the Professor Agumon as well? I don't think we do. I think we put our opponent to 1. I want to encourage them to try and go wide here. Because I want them to get all these 3 costs out so that we can ultimate flare their board. We get an Izzy come down. It's going to reveal 1, 2, 3 cards. Now we do have Holy Wave in hand. So we can think carefully about how we want to do this. We definitely don't want to draw Omnimon. I think we're likely to use removal on our next turn. So I'm going to put Omnimon 3rd from the top. Then Holy Wave. Then Wyvern's Breath. kills the Gazimon. So what we're intending to do is we'll draw the Wyvern's Breath. We'll play some form of removal, which we're now actually less likely to do. We'll draw up. I was hoping our opponent would play another Digimon that we could onslaught. Well, what we can actually do is we'll just try and Holy Wave. We put Holy Wave on top of security. Let's see if our opponent paid attention to Izzy. If they did, they don't swing here. But that still saved us one attack. Because we know there's a Holy Wave on top of security and an Omnimon's Vart Defeat on top of deck. So if they attack, Tapimon lives, they don't get to draw a card. Our security doesn't go down and we get an Omnimon in there. So they're going to go in, Holy Wave, Recovery 1. Oh, that put 2 cards in there. And they passed a turn over here. Alright, we'll go to 3 from Izzy. We'll draw. So it's just Tapimon to worry about. So they're going to 3 regardless, so I think now is the time to run out Professor Agumon and an Izzy Joe. We know we get Omnimon if they hit us from security. We've got removal sitting here. So we're actually quite effectively using our opponent's retaliation against them by just swinging Omnimon into their Digimon. And this is showing why I've put Izzy in the deck. Because we got to plan all of that turns ahead. We knew what was coming off the top of our deck, so we could organise that. Opponent, as I say, if they were smart, they could have played around that, but they seemed to miss that opportunity. Well, I guess we're going to kill Tapimon. We don't have enough cards in hand to kill Skullgreymon. As not to say opponent isn't smart. That definitely came out wrong. I'm not trying to insult opponent here. They just missed that particular move, which is easily done. It's not a thing that's common to most games in Digimon. You don't have to pay that much attention to the top of your opponent's deck, but against security control you really do need to think about that. Scarred Underworld's cool to draw a card, sure, and get back Tapimon, but that's fine because Omnimon's going to clear up their board. It's going to swing over Titamon and then pop something with its effect. Plus, this means we get a ton of memory. Okay, they're going to use Demonic Disaster. Not a bad idea. Stops us getting the memory off Izzy Joe and makes it so that Omnimon can't attack Titamon. I really like that play from opponent. That was a very heads-up play there. Okay, so Omnimon's just going to come at security in that case. It's going to live, that's fine. Send in the Agumon Expert. That's going to die, that's also fine. Fortunately for opponent, our deck is almost entirely removal, so we are just going to Wyvern's Breath that Titamon. It was a heads-up play and a smart thing to do there. Use that Demonic Disaster, protect the Titamon. They're hoping to trash a card, give it security attack +1, get something back with Rush. Like, they could have pressured game there. So I do really respect what they did. Just unfortunately, we've got a lot of removals, so it still forced us to do it in a less efficient way, give our opponent more memory than we would have liked to, and stopped us having a huge amount of memory. So again, smart stuff. Let's see what they go for. Gazimon on the field, Lady Devimon in raising. Oh, that was like the perfect draw in this situation. So Omnimon will come at security just because it can't really go anywhere else. And now we are in danger here, but I prefer running out the Magnadramon here to just firing off a single removal spell to kill a Gazimon. We'd be putting our opponent 4 no matter what, which will let Titamon do stuff. Let's have a look in here. They don't have the Ginkaku, so they can't gain a memory. But they'd have 4 anyway. So we'll bring out Magnadramon, hard play, put them to 8 and recover 2. We know they've used 1 Demonic Disaster. I've only been through like half their deck, so... If we draw Bushi Agumon, this is game. So I wonder if that will be on our opponent's mind. They saw the Bushi last time. But yeah, that Magnadramon's a good draw. We got 1 in trash and now 1 in the battle area. See how this Omnimon comes down and just pressures. We know opponent runs Hell's Gates. They can kill Omnimon. But as I said in the deck tech, that means one of theirs dies too. And 6 memory sacrifice a Digimon to kill 1 of mine. Doesn't feel amazing. Okay, now they get the value off of Chaos Gallantmon. They could pop their Gazimon. Okay, that's going to come at security. We're going to get Reinforced Memory Boost. Unfortunately for them, it didn't die. I think they were hoping that would die so they could reanimate. We're going to see an Agumon Expert. That's not great. That makes 2 in trash. I only run the 3. Okay, there's the Underworld's call for 4. Gonna bring back Tapiamon, sure. Now what I'm intending to do is swing Omnimon over Chaos Gallantmon. Okay, I'm going to draw. Okay, just double checking. Chaos Gallantmon is only their turn. We're going to go up to 3 for Izzy, then 5, then 7. Unsuspend, draw. Oh, this is unfortunate. Because I could have used Ultimate Flare to good value here. But that Gazimon is stopping us using Reinforced Memory Boost. These Digimon really good in this format with Memory Boost everywhere. So I can't gain 3 to Ultimate Flare and still have it be my turn. Otherwise I could kill both of these. I might still be able to do something to that effect. Actually, what I can do here is Gewaltzformer, can't I? That's only 7. So let's kill the Devimon and the Gazimon with that. We're then going to swing Omnimon over the Chaos Gallantmon. This time Omnimon lives. And then send Magnadramon into security. Check a Labramon. And seeing as we just have removal in our hand, I think we just passed the turn. So there's the power of Izzy Joe once again, getting up to 7 memory there, able to Gewaltzformer. Gazimon sadly not stopping that, but yeah, Gazimon is really good. Run the Digimon that stop your opponents gaining memory. There's memory boosts in every colour. Some colours have multiple. Opponent has GG'd there. What were our last 2 cards? We had an Ultimate Flare and a Wyvern's Breath for them to get through. But yeah, that I think that game was a pretty good example of security control doing what security control is supposed to do. Okay, so we're going into another game here. Starting up with the standard dice roll. We hit a 2. Let's see what our opponent gets. 1, unfortunate. We want to play second with this deck. Like I've mentioned before. But there you go, we will be playing first. And this is a Not brilliant start in hand here. We're going to hatch up an Upamon. And I think the choice here is between Izzy and Agumon Expert. I think without the other Agumon Expert in hand, I'd rather drop Izzy and put something useful on top of the deck. I guess in this scenario, we don't want to draw that Omnimon just yet, so we'll put that Iron Fisted Onslaught on top. And hopefully something out of security is going to get that Omnimon on top later on, because we don't want to draw a third one. Opponent playing purple. I have played against this opponent a few times before, so what they're talking about in chat. So if this is the purple list I know they're using, it is tailored to play against security control, which means there should be a good chance to show how this deck deals with a suboptimal matchup. Let's see. Devimon to mill 2. Use 2 copies of Revive from the Darkness. Actually quite happy to see that. So we're going to draw up the Iron Fisted Onslaught. I think here, let's keep memory to a minimum. Drop time mat. I don't want to give over too much by using the Professor Agumon, or Agumon Expert, whatever we're calling it. I'm hoping to hit some form of double recovery out of security. So in comes Devimon, and we're going to check a Magnadramon. Not what we wanted in security either. So I kind of hope that that King Kakumon swings. I'm not going to. Draw up. We're going to hit a Jokermon. Going to draw. That's another Iron Fisted Onslaught. And we are just going to play Agumon Expert and pass the turn. Yeah, this hand kind of rough in this matchup as well. We could blow up the Jokermon, but they do just get back either this Devimon or that Devimon and trash more. It's like trying to play the done Devimon strategy. So we're going to have this one come in. Trash a card to delete our Professor Agumon. Sure, we're going to security check Salamon. So even security is not good for us here. This is very rough. Going to evolve into Anubismon. Get back Lucymon. They have to draw as well. Okay, and then Lucymon's going to swing in. It has Rush. We're going to get Cordramon, which means we're drawing that Omnimon Zvar. Do you find another Professor Agumon? Annoyingly, these have different play costs, so Iron Fisted Onslaught not going to kill them both. Be interesting if a Millennium one came down and could blow them both up. Millie, of course, would still come back. Draw. Okay, we're going to go to 3 from Izzy, and then 5 from Time Mat. Draw. Another Professor Agumon. And I don't think we have much choice but to blow up that Anubismon in order to not die. In comes Cordramon. It's going to die. That's fine. We're going to use Professor Agumon. Get back 1 from our trash. And we do have to go for the kill here. Unfortunately. Oh yeah, we'll delete the Lucymon. That's fine. Opponent can still rush stuff out, so we're in a rough position, but yeah, this hand is not good. You don't want to draw all 3 of your Omnimons this early in the game. And we haven't really checked much useful stuff out of security, so Draw a card, swing in, I'm going to check. Vulture Farmer, that's going to go to hand. In comes Nubismon, is going to kill the Professor Agumon, and we're going to check another Quadramon. So yeah, our security's been pretty terrible. Millenniummon, will put that to the bottom of the deck. We'll draw up, and I think that's just about GG. Well, now we have a line out of here. Go to 5. I do think we drop another time max. We want the memory to be able to do more stuff later on. Drop that and then Magnadramon and Recovery 2. But I do feel like we've lost this game. Now I have all 4 Omnimon Zvarts in hand. They know about the Vulture Farmer, at least. But there is that Promo Devimon in the sources of this Millenniummon. There's the Dun Devimon in trash. It's a huge uphill battle for us. Don't know what we do. I think... Okay, that's probably game. Anubismon gets back Lucymon. They should draw for the Evo as well. Technically should do that in the other order. Now, let's see what we flip. In comes Lucymon. We're going to check Ultimate Flare. That's going to de-digivolve. Let's think about this. We have to target the Anubismon, really. It's the only way to survive. Because the Millenniummon goes down to Kinkakumon, who doesn't die to Ultimate Flare. Doesn't get Digimon off the board, unfortunately. I think we're happy to crash our Magnadramon into Lucymon next turn. Deals with that. Still got 2 attacks to get through. Comes Millenniummon. Hits a Holy Wave. That's somewhat useful. Letting us recover 1 here. There's Devimon for 2. It's going to go up into a Devimon for 2. That goes into a Lady Devimon playing around the Vulture Farmer. And draws for evolution. Draw 2, discard 2. We are going to have 7 memory to play with, thanks to these tires and mats that we put down. But I don't think there's anything we have that can deal with this. Okay, so we go to 7. Draw for the turn. Now, we could attempt some shenanigans here of blowing up Salamon with our own Vulture Farmer. That will recover 1. But I think it's more impactful to draw a card. That doesn't actually save us. We're better off drawing. So with this, we can kill 2 of their Digimon. Because we swing into Lucymon, and then Wyvern's Breath, the Lady Devimon. And then hope that whatever's in security saves us. I think that's the way forward here. And then do that. Okay, opponent's turn. We've got to hope for something out of security to survive here. Trying to find a way through. Gonna check. Eden's Javelin is gonna draw and kill that Gilmon. And save us once more. Now we'll have 7 memory again, so we can get Salamon to recovery 1, reinforced memory boost to recovery another, and a Professor Agumon down. Which, I mean, the Professor Agumon does just die to Kinkaku, but we can hopefully get to a point where we start using 2. We may have to kill the Millenniummon at least one time. Need our opponent to not put any other Digimon out, which is unlikely. Or for some reason hard drop a Millenniummon. I was pretty happy to see that Eden's Javelin there. It's going to drop another Kinkakumon. Going to go to 7 memory. Going to draw. We get to move up Salamon, who's going to swing at their security, drawing us 1. Hit a Lady Devimon, that's very nice. It will die, and recovery 1. Then get to reinforce memory boost. Oops, I don't get to reinforce memory boost. I don't have a yellow Digimon on the board. Mistakes were made there. So what we can do instead is play Professor Agumon for 3. Grab 1 back from trash. And then play another Professor Agumon for 3. This was stupid of me. I really threw myself here because my plan was to then use the Gewaltzformer on Kinkakumon. This was just not smart play on my part. I can Gewaltzformer to survive, but yeah, serious misplays on my part. So I messed up by I should have used the reinforced memory boost first. I'll drop the Gewaltzformer. We'll blow up our own Agumons with this foolishly. Should have used it in a different order. But there you go. Still don't see us getting back into the game, even if we did it differently. Millenniummon comes in, checks a Magnadramon. Really would have liked that in hand. Comes a Mat. It's going to get Revive from the darkness back. And then use it. Can't do that. That's fair enough. Okay, so out comes Jokumon. All of this quite hard to deal with. We're going to draw, we're going to hatch. We are on 7 memory still. That Magnadramon might just keep us alive. Now we can use the reinforced memory boost. Reveal 1, reveal 2. We'll put the Iron Fisted Onslaught on security and the Izzy Joe in hand. And then drop Magnadramon, put our opponent to 10 and recovery 2. Opponent is only on 9 cards left in the deck now. Might be able to navigate way through. The problem is if that Millennium dies, it's got Promo Demi Devimon in the source, so it brings back the Dan Devimon from trash, and the Millenniumon comes back. Here comes Anubismon. It's possible if we hadn't misplayed earlier, we might have been able to stall our opponent out. No effect from Anubismon is interesting. We get an Izzy Joe. Check here is going to get Wyvern's Breath. It's going to kill... Well, I guess... No, that would give haste to stuff, so we have to kill the Anubismon. That was a lucky Wyvern's Breath coming out there. Magnadramon gets to kill this Gilmon. Could swing with Millie and get 2 cards out of it. Our opponent here. We do have the Izzy Joe now, so that's even more memory going on. Okay, gonna come in, check Iron Fisted Onslaught. That kills Millie. They draw 1, discard 1. And get back Dan Devimon. Still an uphill battle here. Okay, and now we can't... Okay, so we can kill 1 Millenniumon, but we can't swing over the Gilmon, which is frustrating. So I would have loved to have had a Salamon in Raising that could crash into it here. If you use Iron Fisted Onslaught, it removes 1 million a source from another one. We're going to have 9 memory. Opponent just realising they forgot to play anything off of their Anubismon. It is a May trigger, so they did miss lethal on that. We're going to be on 10. Okay. How do we navigate our way through this? Voltsformer kills 1 Digimon. And that's it. Are we out of Magnetrons? That is 3 we've been through. So we need to see more cards here. So I'm going to lead things off. An Eden's Javelin. How many cards in hand do we have? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Unfortunately, we can't get Voltsformer off here as well. We are 1 memory short. Because of that Gilmon's effect. So yeah, we are just going to die here. We did hang on for a long time. Nearly ran our opponent out of cards was the strategy we started going for. But yeah, game 1 goes to our opponent. As Purple Reanimator deck, quite effective against security control. Let's see if we can navigate a win out of it. We did have a bit of a rough start. So opponent has started off here with a Demi-Devimon in Raising. This is a better starting hand. We have removal, we have Professor Agumon, we have Cordramon to go digging for more, and Magnadramon if we start falling behind, so... reasonable start. It's only the one removal. I'm fairly comfortable with this. Let's see what our opponent gives us to work with here. Opponent is just going to pass the turn. Okay, we're going to draw, hatch. Oh, and that Salamon is very nice. We can play fairly aggressively here. And a Bushi Agumon as well. So setting us up for a good start here. Now, I don't think we run the Professor Agumon out just yet. I think we're going to use Cordramon here and draw too, because we just don't want to give up over too much memory. Get Gavulch Former and Iron Fist's Onslaught in hand. We can't use either of these yet. I think there's a good chance here we just start attacking our opponent down. Probably going to bring out the Salamon and consider swinging with that early. Depends. If our opponent's pressuring security already, we'll hang back and wait. In that case, I think Salamon comes up. I think we're going to bring Salamon up and then drop Professor Agumon down, maybe. Get those attacks in. Seems reasonable to me. Okay, we're going to draw for our turn. We're going to raise Salamon. That second Magnadramon definitely makes me comfortable with that decision. Okay, Cordramon lives. Salamon's going to come in. It's going to check a Devimon. Salamon dies. Now down comes Professor Agumon, puts our opponent on 1. We can evolve Bushi in raising next turn. If you just draw all your Digimon, then you switch to a more aggressive strategy. It's likely we see Lady Devimon come at Cordramon and then an evolution. That's what I'm expecting to see here. Yep. But we're trying to navigate into a position where any Digimon flipped out of security is really bad for our opponent. We still have another Cordramon, and we have all 4 Omnis of Arts that could be hiding in there. Yeah, the intention here is to swing with Professor Agumon and just take another security card out and have Bushi lined up as a backup. That's going to put us to 1. We're going to draw. We're going to hatch. Well, there's one of the Zvarts, not what we wanted to see, really. Professor Agumon's going to come in at security. Check a Millenniumon. Evolve the Upamon into a Bushi Agumon. Now, I don't think we go for the kill just yet. I think I'm happy to fire off a reinforced memory boost. Look for maybe another Professor Agumon. Well, I'll put the Iron Fisted Onslaught on top of security and a third Magnadramon in hand. It's going to make it very difficult for our opponent here. Because we've pressured their security low, they'll need to deal with each of those Magnadramons. We know they're one Millennium Mon down. And that Iron Fisted Onslaught threatens to kill whatever the highest play cost Digimon is. It's currently the Lady Devimon. Opponent does get to draw one, discard one. But we should soon have the setup of a Bushi-Agumon in trash and a reinforced memory boost on field, which is quite useful. Because that really does threaten that Professor Agumon can get it back, and then we swing for lethal. Down comes a blocker, makes a lot of sense from our opponent. But he's going to give us 4 memory to work with here, so we're going to draw up. And we have no black tamer on the field, which is irritating here. Fuzzy Gavulch Farmers could do a lot of work. We might just have to pass our opponent to 3, but that really doesn't feel good. I could use Wyvern's Breath here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep playing the game down this more aggressive line. We're going to go up to 7 and then Wyvern's Breath the blocker out the way, leaving our opponent on just 1. We can play this conservative match. We are ahead on security. Our opponent's board isn't super threatening right now. I think they missed a draw there. Yep. So, planning on thinking this through. I'm really hoping we see a black tamer soon. Security check is going to be a Salamon. That's a shame. I would have liked that in hand. Hopefully going to get a swing of Bushi-Agumon next turn. What are we going to see come down here? There is King Kakumon there, so get those Agumons down. So they have to delete Jokumon, which will trigger its effect. Now, really by the rules, I think you resolve Revive from the darkness first, as that's all the text of one card. Gonna get back Gilmon. Okay. Well, we're gonna draw up. Oh, there's a black tamer. That's nice to see. So we're gonna bring out Bushi-Agumon, swing at security. Another check done. 3k. That will kill it. And then we're gonna drop the Izzy Joe. Put our opponent to just 1 memory here. We have the Magnadramons to follow up. Opponent on their last security card. We now have access to these 3 Gavulch Formers, 3 Magnadramons. Still not a sure thing. This purple deck can get quite nasty. That Cordramon helps a lot. Coming in at security is going to hit a reinforced memory boost. That Cordramon should hopefully allow us to take our opponent down to 0 security, and every single Digimon we have is a serious threat to them. And here comes Anubismon, puts us on 2, and we're going to go to 4 thanks to Izzy and Joe. Get the draw from Evo and then recovery 1. Okay, so we have a Lucymon, Devimon and Anubismon that we're facing down. Let's draw for our turn, hatch up. There's a Professor Agumon, which is quite nice. Now, I don't think Cordramon goes at security in this situation, though. What we do here is Cordramon over Devimon. Let's get one of their mons off the field. Let's draw 1, discard 1. And what I'll likely do here is Agumon Expert and then Magnadramon. The Agumon Expert will get back. I've got the tough question of here. Do we grab the Agumon Expert or do we grab the Bushi Agumon that's in there? I think in this case we grab the Bushi. Actually, no, our opponent likely has Millennium Mon. I think we stick to the standard thing here. So we're going to play Agumon Expert. Search out another Agumon Expert. Put to hand. And then Magnadramon, our opponent, over to 10 memory and recovery 2. Now next turn we can use the Agumon Expert in our hand, get Bushi Agumon back from trash, and then drop it in for free with Magnadramon's effect, providing it survives. We do still have potentially lethal swing here, thanks to that reinforced memory boost guaranteeing us able to play the Agumon Expert. But there's a lot that could happen between now and then. Down comes Devimon. That's going to evolve into Devimon. Draw a card. Are they doing this just to delete and unsuspend with Anubismon's effect in order to get Devimon out? I think they might be. Where is this Lucymon going? Cordramon or security? Security. Okay, we'll check. Magnadramon. There's the 4th. Yep. We'll let them do all their effects first. Now it has gained Rush. What are we going to hit with that? I think we play it safe and take out the Anubismon. Stop any other resurrection shenanigans going on. With Rush. Take a time mat. It's going to go up into Millenniumon and it's going to get rid of Magnadramon. Put you to the bottom of the deck. Perfect. We're going to go to 5 memory, thanks to that time mat. Draw up. Okay, so it was 3. Apparently it was at 5 and went to 1. Sure. Let's see. Agumon Expert's going to come in at security. Check a Devimon. I think this is where we use reinforced memory boost. We're going to gain 3. Use 3 of that. Play another Agumon Expert. Get 1 back. And drop another Magnadramon. Put our opponent to 8 and recovery 2. Security check. Eden's Javelin. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's still alive. It is on 2k. Could have considered giving our opponent a lot less memory and using Holy Wave, but I'm going to go it this way. Hell's Gate will take out the Magnadramon, sure. Do have another one in hand here though. Opponent really thinking through their options here. Have to be careful how much memory they give us. I'm sure they know that BT6 is in our trash and they'll be thinking about that. Use a revive from the darkness to get back another Digimon. Good point. They have no purple. Deciding not to make that play. I completely forgot about raising. As you can tell, it's getting a little bit later in the day when I'm playing this one. So down comes Lucimon. We'll put us to 7 and now recovery 1. Okay, we will draw a card up. Agumon Expert's going to swing at security. Check a Devimon and die. Now, chances are I think we run out another Agumon Expert here. Just thinking through how much memory we want to give our opponent. If we give them too much, they can build up a stack of Anubismon and do some stuff. So, I think this time we use Agumon Expert to get back Bushi Agumon. Because we have another Agumon Expert on hand, it doesn't means the loop doesn't necessarily die. And then we'll use a Holy Wave here and just recovery 1. Avoid giving our opponent too much to work with. Only run the 1 Bushi. I don't feel the need to slam it out that early in the game. Plus, we wouldn't have been able to play it and swing there anyway. We went down to 4 after playing the Agumon Expert. And even with 1 in hand, we wouldn't win. So here comes Millenniumon. Is going to check an Izzy Joe. Devimon is going to check an Izzy Joe. And then Lucimon comes in and checks a... Man, that is a stupid amount of memory there. It was... Security was all tamers. You see, our opponent still has a way to win. If they kill Agumon Expert here, that is bad for us. So at the moment we are going to gain It's straight up 10 memory, so we will have 10 memory on our turn. They can't keep us low. Even if they somehow broke the rules and started us at 0, we'd still have 10. Even if they'd have played differently to stop me getting to try and stop me getting to 5 for Bushi, having an Izzy Joe and the time map, even just the two of them, was still going to get me to 5. So the question they've got to ask is, do they have a way to kill the Agumon expert here? Okay, they do. They kill that and get a blocker back. Okay, cool. That's still not enough, I'm afraid, because... Actually, that one might be. Draw. We'd need to be able to kill it and leave ourselves with 5 memory, which we just can't do. If we had a reinforced memory boost out, we could win here because we could play Bushi and use the Agumon expert to get it back. As it stands, that's not going to work. Just Magnadramon isn't enough. So I think here we have to just Holy Wave Magnadramon, but that gives our opponent 7. And that easily lets them get to Anubismon. Yeah, this isn't an easy one to navigate. We could kill the blocker. We could give our opponent 4 by killing the blocker and then recovery 1, but that doesn't save us. Yeah. I think in this situation our best bet is to just put our opponent to 1, recovery 2, and hope for removal. Hope for something relevant out of security. This puts 2 Digimon on the field and the opponent on 1. I think this is the best way to navigate that situation. Our opponent can do a lot of things if you give him memory. So we were always at risk. Security check. Holy Wave. We live. Lucymon checks an Izzy. It's going to reveal 3 cards. We want to put Svart third from the top, I think, and then Salamon on top. And we're going to have 10 memory. Magnadramon drops to Bushi Agumon. Bushi Agumon can swing. Agumon Expert gets it back. We have quite a lot of attacks here. And yeah, we managed to cinch the win that our opponent doesn't have removal for this Magnadramon. We pass turn, we go to 10, we draw for turn, we swing with Magnetramon, drop the Bushi. Magnetramon lives, Bushi swings, blocks, it dies, play Professor Agumon, get back the Bushi. This is a little bit extra. But I wanted to go for the Bushi beat down there. Hell's Gate would have saved them there, because Magnetron wouldn't have been able to drop Bushi in the first place. Without a reinforced memory boost on the field, we couldn't quite do enough. So we're going to a game 3 here. Decide this match. And gets to choose first or second. Really, you're supposed to choose before looking at your hand, but I will. His hand's okay. Opponent just remembered that. Generally go so. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're going first. We hatch up an Upamon, and do we lead things off with here? I think we actually start off with a Cordramon. Hand over 6 memory and draw 2. Would have much rather had that TK here. That would have been a good one to get out right away. We could have considered Izzy Joe to get the Iron Fisted Onslaught online. I don't feel like we needed to do that immediately. Opponent debating about evolving into the Lady Devimon over and raising here. Gonna play the promo Demi Devimon instead, and then a regular Demi Devimon. Gonna draw for our turn. I think Cordramon actually sits back here and threatens to swing back over one of their Digimon, perhaps. No, we're gonna come in at security. Okay, well, we were putting them to 3 anyway, so that doesn't have an immediate impact. What we're going to do is use the Izzy Joe here. We're playing that, so this Iron Fisted Onslaught is online. We should hopefully get an extra 2 memory with it. We could have played TK and got that out of the way early. That's probably going to be a dead card in our hand now. So I'm happy to get the black online. I think it might be more important. If our opponent goes for a level 6 here, we want to be able to kill it. Draw 1 for Evo, then draw 2, discard 2. Lady Devimon, a really good card. Let's get a Lucymon in trash, and what's the... changing their mind. What are the 2 they're discarding here? Really thinking about things. Demi Devimon. Is that Lady Devimon? Okay, so they're playing for the Dan Devimon reanimation. And then swing over Cordramon, sure. Swing Demi Devimon at security, Wyvern's Breath, we're going to kill... I think we take the Lady Devimon out now before it turns into something problematic. It's one promo Demi Devimon's effect that isn't going to do something nasty later on. And then they're going to go into a blocker for 1. and draw. We're going to go to 3 thanks to Izzy Joe. Draw up. Salomon is very nice here, draw into that. Now let's count trash here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So unfortunately if we kill that stack, Dandevimon comes out. And that's quite annoying for us. So we know we're not going to flip a TK out of security at least. Do I run out of TK and take the gamble here? See, it's 6 here. We don't want to. Don't want to kill that. It's either TK or Izzy Joe, because we want the memory. I'm going to run out the TK and hopefully find something useful. Magnadramon, very nice. Rewarded for that, I think. I forgot to pay enough attention to see what my other cards were. That could be bad. I know I didn't see any other yellow in there, so this other TK is probably going to sit in hand. But now we have Magnadramon and Salomon ready to come and do stuff. Opponent wants that Devimon to die to get down Devimon back. We're happy to do it with a trade because then we can just follow up with removal afterwards. It means discarding too, but that's alright. So opponent is going to be forced to give us a lot of memory, which is the exact situation we wanted to put them in. So King Kakumon comes down, and we'll go to 5. We'll draw for our turn. And what we're going to do here is, I think we're just going to keep trying to bank more memory while we can. We're going to play another Izzy Joe, and then a time map. Security check is an Iron Fisted Onslaught. And it kills the Devimon. It brings out the Dandevimon, I guess. That's not too bad. It can't attack. There's no Anubismon that gave it Rush. That's coming in at security here. Check a Zvart defeat. That's really good. This means their King Kakumon lives. We're going to get a big chunk of memory here. I'm going to delete the Omnimon's VAR. Okay, we got to think this through. And I think it's an obvious choice that we kill the Dandevimon here. And we get to discard TK, and we'll discard this other Omnimon's VAR. They won't do much in our hand anyway. Start of our turn, we go to 7. Draw. I'm going to move up the Salomon. That's going to swing it at security, draw us one off of Upamon. Check a Revive from the Darkness, which goes to hand. Then do we want to use Magnadramon or Iron Fisted Onslaught? I think now we use Iron Fisted Onslaught while we can get the value of killing both of their Digimon. We have these 2 Magnadramons ready to do stuff. We have this Salomon, another one coming as a backup. And a Reinforced Memory Boost. We have plenty of recovery here. This might be the point where we're starting to turn the corner. Opponent's going to drop a blocker and leave us on just 3 memory. We're going to draw. We're going to hatch. Upamon there. We're going to draw a card. I think we let Salamon swing in to draw another card and potentially recover one. Yep, it will die and we'll recovery 1. Then I think we just run out Eden's Javelin here. Take that blocker out. We have another Salamon that can draw more and recover more. We are now behind on the deck size game, so there is that to pay attention to. It's only by a little bit, and our opponent does draw a lot of cards. And they're hard pushed to do much with their board that isn't going to give us a ton of memory. I think realistically now we just start pressuring security. The Salamons and Quadramons hopefully draw into Professor Agumon. We know our opponent uses Hell's Gate, not Fly Bullet, which doesn't kill our lower Digimon. In terms of blockers, we've already seen 2. So we get Lucimon for 5. They'll recovery 1. We'll go to 3. Draw. Let's move up the Salamon, swing at security, draw a card, check some mat. That could potentially be problematic depending on what they get back with this. The question here is, do we kill the Lucimon? And let's just keep Salamon alive if we do that. They get promo Demi-Devi. Okay. Do we kill Lucimon? Yes, we'll kill Lucimon. Means Salamon doesn't die, gets another attack in, brings another security card down, and we can just keep pushing. There's Demi-Devimon into Devimon. They're going to draw. This is where we see Revive from the Darkness to trigger its effect. If they do, we have the Onslaught. We can kill Devimon. Not too much of a problem. If it comes at security, could be worse. I've got to think carefully here. There's 2 Izzy Joes really putting them off putting another Digimon on the field. Just going to evolve into King Kakumon in Raising. And we'll go to 3 thanks to Izzy. We'll draw. We'll hatch up a card. Swing Salamon at security and draw 1. Just going to hit that. Now, Ultimate Flare does deal with this without triggering the effect. So that is a consideration here. But I think I want to keep up the aggression. We're going to drop Quadramon. And draw 2. Opponent can play Devimon if they want. We have an Onslaught and a Wyvern's Breath to kill it. We'll have 12 cards in hand, so I think even Eden's Javelin is going to kill Devimon. And if they get a Devimon out, we start with 5 memory. Security check. Reinforced memory boost comes into play. That's fine. If opponent does Digivolve this stack up, then we probably go for the ultimate flare on it. We might still consider it next turn, what they got over here. Gilmon, Jokemon, that's not threatening. This is what I was talking about in the deck tech, where Izzy Joe really just cripples your opponent, because they can't go wide without giving us a load of extra memory. So they have to stick with one Digimon, but that means they're not really pushing aggression. Okay, they're just going to pass the turn. We're going to draw. Oh, and there's Professor Agumon. That's nice to see. Cordramon's going to swing at security. He's going to live. That's pretty cool. I think we might just Professor Agumon time map, because they'll Demi-Devimon into Cordramon, get back Dan Devimon. The question is, will they Anubismon first to give it haste, and that, or give it rush? That would actually be bad. So, actually, I think this is an ultimate flare situation. I think they run out the Professor Agumon first. Use the reinforced memory boost to gain that 3 back, and then ultimate flare. De-Digivolve and kill the Demi-Devimon without triggering it. The other option would have been to drop Agumon and Tiamat, so that our opponent would have to give us an extra 4 memory. But they did have the Anubismon. That's what I was worried about, because then they could have got swung into our Cordramon, killed that. Got Dan Devimon, got an Lucymon, been able to do a lot of attacks. Really just didn't want that. It's Lucymon. Important to note, both their Digimon will die to Eden's Javelin at this point, I think. We will have 10 cards in hand come next turn. And a lot of memory. I hope. Okay, swing over Cordramon. So we're getting the +2 from Tiamat. And they're going to delete Professor Agumon with the effect. Sure. Likely see Lucymon come at security, but if that doesn't die, we have 9 memory. Security check, a holy wave. Opponent's deck has gotten smaller than ours again, so we can definitely play to that out. This Eden's Javelin will put us behind them, though. I think we want to Eden's Javelin the Anubismon here. We do have Magnadramon as an option as well. So we're going to go to 10. Okay. Draw for turn. So we can Eden's Javelin the Anubismon. And then I think we kill the Black War Ground one just to stop them doing anything untoward there. We can kill that with Wyvern's Breath. Could think about using these reinforced memory boosts, but they are going to put us down on cards. So the Magnadramons. So we do have to be careful about where we're recovering, but we have these reinforced memory boosts. We have the Magnadramons. We could look at a security beatdown if we don't want to go for the deck out strategy. There's a Magnadramon that gets that Lucymon off the board, which is quite nice. Yeah, we have to think about how we want to do this. And we pay a lot of attention to deck sizes. Promo Demi Devimon almost certainly going to evolve. Evolves into a blocker for 1. Draw a card. So down to 13. This puts us in a situation where we can reinforce fairly happily. Another Professor Agumon could be quite good. Can revive from the darkness. I see. So they delete that. They'll get back Dandevimon and a level 3. That is going to put us to a lot of memory. It will put us to 10 memory. Oh, sorry, a level 5 or lower. Okay. So my turn, I go to 6, 8, 10. Draw up. Dandevimon is fairly easily dealt with in this situation. So we're on 14, they're on 13. I think we just drop a Magnadramon here, right? And then kill Dandevimon at a later point in time. Because I'm hoping that's going to put a Svart defeat in there. Because that would be huge. Okay, so we're just going to see Dandevimon into Millenniummon. That is perfectly fine with me. Okay. We're going to go to 9 memory. Drop. So we've got Millenniummon to face down. But here it comes. Professor Agumon loop is go. All we have to do is get that Devimon out of the way. I think that's exactly what we're going to do here. Millenniummon comes into security, is going to hit a Professor Agumon. That's actually quite good. We can get much more aggressive with that now. It should be where we close the game out, I hope. I haven't seen a Svart defeat apart from the one that was in our hand that we trashed to a Dandevimon effect earlier. Oh, apparently there's 2 in there. It's been a very long game. I've lost track of what's happened. Okay, so here comes Revive from the Darkness. We're on 3, so they're actually just going to play the Devimon here. We're going to go to 9. We'll draw up. And this is actually fine because we play another Professor Agumon, get back the one that's in our trash. We'll have 2 so we can still swing around their thing. Could Magnadramon. Other way we lose 2 cards. Magnadramon puts them to 5. If we do... Yeah, we'll do another time mat, double up on that effect, and then reinforce. Put them to 4. We'll put Svart defeat on top of security and Holy Wave in hand. We are behind on cards, but it means them attacking our security is bad for them. They can flip, say, Asphalt Defeat out of it. If the opponent draws a single card, we're back ahead on them as well. We can swing with both Professor Agumons each turn, get round the Devimon. I think the game is in our favour, and we can hopefully close it out here. It's going to drop Demi-Devimon. Another Demi-Devimon. Well, this is just looking really nice for our Convulsion Former here, isn't it? It's going to get 3 whole targets. And then the Black Warground one. Okay, so we're going to draw up. We're going to swing Professor Agumon. It dies, that's fine. Swing Professor Agumon. Let's ask our opponent the question, because we're going to kill it anyway with Convulsion Former. Play Professor Agumon, get one back. And then play another one. Get the other one back. We are 1 card behind our opponent, but we're putting the pressure on here. If they attack us, we get another Digimon, which is even going to deal with recovery because of these time mats, giving it security attack +2 at the moment. With a reinforced memory boost to gain an extra 3 memory if we need it. These time mats mean we're gaining a load of memory off of Millenniumon. This is what we try to do. We try to assemble this board state where our opponent just can't really do much against us. Okay, so there comes Lucymon. Is going to buy 1 more turn. We will be going to 10, yep. Cover 1. We're going to draw. It's not a Bushi Agumon. I have a feeling that's insecurity. Could be in one of these last 7 cards. So going to Professor Agumon at security. We'll die to a Demi-Devimon. Opponent just looking for the Bushi here, I think. Other Professor Agumon swings at security. It's going to die. Now, we do want to be careful our opponent doesn't steal the game back from us, so I think I'm willing to run out a reinforced memory boost for 6. Because if we can find a Bushi Agumon here, it's GG. We'll put another Asphalt Defeat into security, Magnadramon into hand. And then we're going to play Professor Agumon, get that back, and another Professor Agumon. Opponent has to stop 2 attacks here. We're on 5 security. Comes Anubismon, and this is why we recovered 1. Just in case they had a way to get through, because this would be 4 attacks right here. Okay, they are going to recover 1 here. They can't afford to attack because it just flips Omnimon's Varts. That's the top 2 cards of our security are both Svart defeats. Opponent miscalculated there. Second check will be another one of them. Third check will be an Izzy. Anubismon hits Bushi. There's Bushi Agumon. Swings again, hits Ultimate Flare, which isn't going to do anything, and that's actually GG. Opponent had the unsuspend with Anubismon, and we had 0 removal in our security. We have that starting TK. We have a reinforced memory boost. That's a reasonable starting hand. The TK is going to let us have a look at security, know what we're playing with, get an early memory tamer down. We're only going to pass 1 to our opponent as well, who has no rookies in raising. They do have 1 on the field, thanks to the power of Nokia there. Wheel 3. Unfortunately, opponent hits nothing off of that Agumon. But I saw the Aldermon and Flamemon on there. This is a Ancient Greymon by the looks of it. Almost certainly running a delicate plan too. So that's all stuff to watch out for. We're just going to lead off with this TK. Going to have a search here. Perfect. We see a reinforced memory boost. We could have considered grabbing that Professor Agumon. Our opponent is probably playing a deck where they want to win all in one turn anyway. But I'm fine with that just getting checked out of security and going to trash at the moment. And there was a reinforced memory boost in there, which is just a good card to get. Remember, if you do grab a non-yellow card, you go down a security because you don't get the recovery. Okay, we go to 3 because of TK. Going to draw up for our turn, and I think we just use the Eden's Javelin to kill the Agunimon here. Opponent is stumbling on cards, so we just kill that off and draw another one. Otherwise I would have used Reinforce. But we can spend the same memory, still draw a card, and get their Digimon off the battle area. That seems good to me. Unfortunately drew an Omnimon, which I'm not super psyched about. Okay, so we have a Marcus come down. We're going to go to 3 because of TK. Draw. So our opponent has the memory tamer now, which is fine because we were intending to give them 3 anyway. We'll draw with the Salamon. We drew a Bushi Agumon off of that. It's quite nice. That Salamon gets to sit around for a while. We're going to play the reinforced memory boost for 6. Going to reveal 2 cards. Gavulchformer and Izzy Joe. Well, let's see. Gavulchformer, if it goes into security, just goes into our hand anyway, whereas Izzy Joe will go into play. So I think I'd rather put Izzy Joe on top of security, Gavulchformer in hand. So if our opponent checks us, we get that Izzy Joe down. We have another reinforced memory boost we can use next turn. It's possible we consider bringing the Salamon out and just starting to chip away so we can get the draw with the Bushi Agumon later. I don't think that's what we're going to do. We may reach a point where we're considering hard dropping this Omnimon. Our opponent is really stumbling on cards, so it might just be worth going for it. There we go. We see an Agunimon come down. Okay, we're going to draw up. This being the case, I want to keep Bushi Agumon in hand. We got the Magnadramon coming. So I think we just run out another reinforced memory boost. Reveal 2 cards. We get to put perfect Omnimon into security, Magnadramon into hand. Very good flip. This is why I love reinforced memory boost. And now on 7 security cards, there's an Omnimon will come out. Okay, they're going to go play Flamemon, go digging for our hybrid. They don't find one. They do get to add that red tamer, though. Oh, wait, no, there wasn't a red tamer. Unfortunately, Ancient Greymon isn't a hybrid. It's the only one of that line that Flamemon can't grab. Goonimon comes down. We go to 3. These both cost 5, so this would be a great space for Iron Fisted Onslaught or Gewaltzformer. Now I'm kind of regretting putting that Tamer on top of security. We wouldn't have the Gewaltzformer, but we would have the Iron Fisted Onslaught, could clear the board in this situation. Fortunately, don't really have any more ways to go digging right now, so I think we're just going to keep protecting ourselves. Keep building that security stack up. Opponent's going to have a lot of security attacks to get through. Might soon be time to bring that Salamon out and start swinging. See what opponent does here. They're considering the swing evolution. Cost me a grand total of 2 memory to go up into Ancient Greymon with security attack plus 2. Technically the wrong sequencing, but opponent could delicate plan and then evolve, so I'm just going to allow it. So security check 1, Ultimate Flare, 2, Omnimon, 3, Izzy Joe. Fortunately, delicate plan only stops options. That is a misprint on the card. Okay, we're going to draw up some reinforced memory boost. We're going to let Omnimon swing at security. Check Anagoonimon, that's fine. So that goes into an Ancient Greymon, it has security attack plus 2. So okay, we are just going to run out reinforced memory boost. Reveal 1, 2 cards. Professor Agumon and Cordramon. Well, Cordramon plays itself, so we put Cordramon in security, Professor Agumon in hand. We have the other Agumon expert in security somewhere, which we saw with that Izzy earlier. Atomic Inferno, yep, completely legitimate. Plus 3,000, security attack plus 1. First check, Cordramon, which we know it lives. Draw 2. Second check, Iron Fisted Onslaught. Will kill the Rise Greymon. Good use of the Atomic Inferno there from our opponent. Knowing that it's Cordramon on top, so they get to survive and get second check with that Flamemon. It's pretty good. We will go to 3. Unsuspend, we'll draw. We have all. That's the 4th reinforced memory boost. We have another Professor Agumon in hand. Let's start with Omnimon at security first, because if this checks an Ancient Greymon, it deletes the Flamemon anyway. As it is, that survives. Now Cordramon swings over Flamemon. And what we're going to do here is, I think, run out an Agumon expert for 3. We're going to cash in one of these reinforced memory boosts to go back up to 3. And then play another one, putting our opponent on 3. Feel an Iron Fisted Onslaught and a Wyvern's Breath. I'll put the Onslaught on top. There's potential that they boost their Ancient Greymon up to a point that Wyvern's Breath won't kill it on their turn. Something like that Agumon and any other DP boost will make it 16k and it will survive Wyvern's Breath, so I'd rather keep that in hand. We can use that selectively. Iron Fisted Onslaught will kill their highest play cost Digimon, regardless of its DP. Okay, going to play a Marcus. We gain no memory at the start of turn. We draw, and I'm going to raise the Salamon because we have potential lethal here. Swing with Omnimon. He'll live. Swing with Cordramon, who will also live. Swing with Professor Agumon. It's going to die. And then Salamon swings for game. Unfortunate for our opponent there. The proxy of a delicate plan has a misprint on it. It does say it doesn't trigger the effects of any cards it sees in security, but it only actually stops options. Still very effective against our deck. It means your Digimon's likely to not die. It's still a scary card to see in conjunction with something like Ancient Greymon. It's something we're going to have to be careful about. Okay, opponent, why is he choosing to go second? But we have a not bad turn one hand here as we get to evolve into a Salamon. Now, we could consider running out the Agumon X, but I think I'd rather drop the Izzy here, get some card selection, and turn these two options online. Going to reveal Omnimon's Vart Defeat, Eden's Javelin, Reinforced Memory Boost. Well, that's actually perfect, because what we're going to do is put Eden's Javelin down here, then Omnimon, and then put the Reinforced Memory Boost on top, not in hand. My bad. Nearly put it in the wrong place. So we'll draw Reinforce next turn, and we can use that to put the Omnimon on security and Eden's Javelin into our hand. Opponent building the stack in raising, playing around our removal. Now they've sort of seen what our deck's doing. They can very effectively play around it, which is what they're doing. That's the smart way to do it. We can't do much about Digimon in raising. We're not running Sakuyamon. Let's just drop the Reinforced Memory Boost. Go for the strategy we wanted to go for. We're going to reveal Omnimon and Eden's Javelin. We're going to put Omnimon into security, Eden's Javelin in hand. We can potentially go into a security attack +2 Ancient Greymon, but they're not going to be able to delicate plan and do that. Yep, so that costs 3 memory. Draw a card, security attack +2. They know it survives the first check. Our Omnimon does just crash with it afterwards. They swing. They get the draw of Koromon. First check, Omnimon. Second check, Professor Agumon. Third check, Ultimate Flare. It's going to de-digivolve 3 and then delete everything with a cost 3 or less. Which I believe... Yep, that does in fact kill it. They still got all their checks off of it though, so opponent got value out of that. Took out 3 whole security guards. We do get to potentially draw and recover with Salamon here, which is nice. And we have the Agumon Expert in trash, so we can get a loop going and get kind of aggressive on our opponent here. Just going to play a Greymon for 5. This is a security attack +1 Greymon. Really good in these Ancient Greymon decks. We're likely... See, I want to do the Professor Agumon loop, but I think we go for either Cordramon or Eden's Javelin here, depending on what we see. Salamon's going to swing and draw a card. Check security is a Marcus. Okay, that changes things. Omnimon's going to swing at security. We can no longer choke our opponent to 1. Nokia, would they like to play an Agumon? Seems no. Okay, so I kind of want to go for the kill, so I think we run out Agumon Expert, grab one out of our trash, back to our hand, and then use the Eden's Javelin here. In which case we are lucky that that Salamon survived, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do that. That's something you have to be very careful of. It's easy to deceive yourself when you see Reinforced Memory Boost, but remember it is not a Digimon or a Tamer, so it doesn't count for the colour requirement for your options. So just because you see a bit of yellow down there on the battle area doesn't mean you have it, but Salamon was still alive, so that's fine. But we have the Professor Agumon loop, we have a Quadramon ready to come down. We have Reinforced Memory Boost here, so if we draw Bushi Agumon, it could potentially just be game. Salamon's drawing us an extra card every time it swings because of Upamon. Opponent's just hard dropping Shine Greymon for 12. We can easily kill that with Iron Fisted Onslaught, but not a bad threat for them to put down. Let's start with Omnimon's Vart defeat at security. If that checks an Ancient Greymon, it kills the Shine Greymon. Okay, it doesn't. Salamon's coming at security. We get to draw one off of Upamon. It will die. And we'll recovery one. Agumon Expert swings in and dies. Now what we're going to do here, pretty straightforward. Play Agumon Expert for 3. Get that one back from trash to hand. And then Iron Fisted Onslaught our opponent over to 3 memory. And kill the Shine Greymon. We have 2 attacks to threaten lethal here. Nokia dropping an Agumon. Just throw down a Delicate Plan to pass the turn. We go to 3, unsuspend, draw, swing. So after playing some games with this deck, I was really impressed. Absolutely loved it. Deck performed well, did the things I wanted it to do, and felt quite strong. Now in an ideal situation you're going to have those starts where you're on the draw and you have some form of card selection in your opening hand, like TK, Izzy or Reinforced Memory Boost, that just allow you to fix your hand a little bit and maybe have a look at security, or at least the top card of it in the case of Reinforced Memory Boost. And I think if you have that, you're off to a really good start. But as we saw, even in matches where we had a pretty bad starting hand and even a bad matchup, you can still hang in there. You can still get in the game. We had one match where we lost and it was a close one. We still won one game, and that was through some rough hands in there as well. So very happy with the performance of the deck. If you have a good pilot, I reckon this deck could be competitive. I personally don't think I'm the best pilot in the world. I know the deck kind of well, but I make mistakes. I'm not the greatest player. I think if you put this in the hands of someone really good, you could take this to competitions and expect to win games and expect to perform well overall. So if you're going to be playing in the BT6 meta, expect to see security control. Have a plan for it, because it's not an easy deck to play around and you're going to have to be ready to face it if it comes up. In terms of changes I'd make to the deck, the main thing I'd consider would be putting a second Bushi Agumon in there. I think that is something that needs to happen with the deck. It needs that extra finishing power. I found that was a point where it fell short. Couldn't quite close a game out, and I think another Bushi can get us there faster. I'd probably drop a Salamon for it, go down to 2 Salas, 2 Bushi. We rarely need more than 2 Salas in a game. They mostly sit in the raising area doing nothing anyway. You could also consider dropping the Omnimon's Vart defeat, bringing them down to 3 copies to bring an additional Bushi Agumon in, but I think the Omnimon's Vart is too valuable coming out of security, even though it's kind of dead in hand and not really something you ever want to hard drop. Getting just 1 out of security can be really huge. It can either pick off a couple Digimon, or it can stay around and pressure your opponent and really help get those wins. Getting a Omnimon's Vart defeat into security is really important, so I probably wouldn't advise going down on any of them. But thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you liked the deck, do let me know in the comments down below. If you didn't like the video or you didn't like the deck, also let me know that. I'm happy to take on criticism. Remember to subscribe if you want to keep up with the rest of this series, and if you have your own decks you want featured here on the channel, send them to me. You can drop a link in the comments or you can come join my Discord server, which I'll put a link in the description for, and pop them in the suggestions channel over there. Remember to follow me on Twitch as well, keep up with any tournaments I'm playing live. I am hosting a tournament soon. I'll put the link to the challenge page for that in the description too, so do check that out if you're interested in playing Digimon, but mainly focus on just commons, uncommons, and rares. With the Trash Mountain Championship, check it out. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, remember to like, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.